Hi, motherfuckers. Finally, I finished watching AEW Full Gear, also known as AEW Full Gay. Started watching it last night, really late last night after it happened. I got home eventually after my concert, motherfuckers, and I started watching it. Watched the majority of it last night, but around 5 a.m., I started passing out and I went to bed. So I finished it this afternoon, and now we're going to talk about it, motherfuckers. I took some notes as usual. So without further ado, let's get to it. First match. Apparently there was some sort of, this one I didn't watch. It was Britt Baker versus B. Priestley, but my friend that went to AEW Full Gay, he texted me and he said that, what's her face, Britt Baker won, I think. Is that what he said? And then they cut off Bea Priestley's hair, they being Brandy Rhodes and Awesome Kong. Now, this is just a complete waste of time. Luckily, it was in the pre-show, so, you know, doesn't really matter. But this has been done a million times. Awesome Kong shouldn't be cutting hair. She should be having matches, and she should be the AEW champion. But whatever, they're gonna slow build it. All right, I guess I can live with it. The match itself, like I said, I didn't watch it. I mean, Britt Baker versus Bea Priestley. Like, why would anyone care about this? This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's just like, who cares about these broads? But as we'll see, who cares about a lot of this show? To be honest, I had mixed feelings. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and say it was a horrible show. I was entertained by quite a bit of it, but that lingering question of, why is this happening? Seem to be unanswered for the majority of this show. So next up, we have, what's it called? Santana and Ortiz, who are now called Proud and, what's it called? Pride and Power or something. I wrote it down here somewhere, but I'm trying to recollect it by myself. Yeah, I think they're called Proud and Powerful or whatever. They should be called Out and Proud, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, it was them versus the Young Bucks. I thought that Santana and Ortiz were going to win this match. Obviously, they're going to be positioned as like a serious team. They're going to, in my opinion, have a little bit of an undefeated streak. So we'll see. This match was actually pretty nice. Now, especially for a Young Bucks match, motherfuckers, let me tell you. But first of all, a few things of note. Ortiz, I believe Ortiz is like the goofier one of the two. This Ortiz guy, he's got to be like 5'6" or something. And he's not like a huge guy or anything. There's nothing intimidating about him. This guy is not like, he does not fit like the LAX gimmick, you know. I knew they were LAX for a while. He doesn't fit like Hernandez and Homicide. They look like dudes that could like destroy you, you know, especially Hernandez. This guy just doesn't fit. He came out to the ring looking like he was about to paint a house or something. He had like overalls on, but one of the overalls wasn't on, you know, like he was trying to play it off as cool, but it's not cool at all. It's fucking stupid. So anyways, that immediately was something that I noticed, and I'm like, this is just dumb. Like, why is he dressed like this? Then they did this like stupid ass double submission. It was like a camel clutch type scenario, like with a Boston Crab. Like one of them did like a Boston Crab. The other one got the other guy in like a gory special and did the camel clutch on the guy that was being Boston Crabbed. Now this was like something that, you know, it's interesting, but it's like, it's so spotty that it makes no sense to me. So I don't know. There wasn't anything special here, but it was what it was. You know, it wasn't, I don't know. Nothing too fantastic here, but they had some good spots. The Young Bucks did, I believe, what's it called? The slice spread number 2 into the power bomb. The Made in Detroit, I believe it was called, when the Motor City Machine Guns did it back in the day in TNA. Another thing that was really stupid was like the commentary. The commentary all throughout this show was just horrendous, in my opinion. JR, like the fact that they have JR is now no longer relevant. It's no longer interesting. You know, when JR retired in his prime, one might say, or definitely not in his prime, but like he was still, you know, plateauing, I guess. He wasn't going downhill. Then he would periodically make an appearance at like a WrestleMania or something to, you know, like commentate on like an Undertaker match. And it felt like a big deal because, JR is back for the one night only, right? But now that he's here every week, he really isn't that good, He keeps saying this stupid shit. He had a few good moments today, but he had a few shitty ones too. And one of them was, there was a part where Ortiz grabs one of the Bucks by the leg, like the young Buck is like on the apron. Ortiz pulls him by the leg, and JR says, "They're in the streets, not a wrestling ring." And I'm just like, what? Like, I understand, like, the idea here is that Proud and Powerful or whatever, Pride and Power, they're like street dudes, they're not to be fucked with. But that should be something that's highlighted when they're doing something that is, quote unquote, street motherfuckers. Not when they do something everyone does in a match, where they pull that guy's leg from the apron. That's not street. Like, how many times in a street fight have you seen someone pull someone off an apron? You know what I'm saying? Doesn't make any sense. That was really stupid. Ortiz, this guy just like is one of the worst wrestlers ever. Like, the tag team itself is all right, but Ortiz is clearly the inferior one. Like, he gets super kicked and he sells it like he looks like a fish having a seizure almost. It was ridiculous. I couldn't believe it. He is complete garbage. But whatever, The Santana also had some cringy ass moments. Number one, he gets gum spat at him by one of the young Bucks, and the gum's on the canvas in the ring, and clearly he's gonna put it in his mouth because he's like looking at it, and he does, and the fans start chanting, "You sick fuck," like as if he like. I mean, it's obviously gross, but it's not that gross. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like there's way grosser things that happen in wrestling, like men sweating on each other, and like I don't know, the X Factor when X-Pac puts the person's face ever so closely to his balls, or the Bronco Buster. And there's a lot of weird shit happening in wrestling. So this like that part was all right. Him putting the gun in his mouth was all right. But then eventually he's trying to spit it back at the young Buck that had the gum in his mouth originally, and he missed. He missed by like a mile. You know what I mean? And it was so stupid because he was gonna spit gum at him and he completely missed. He botched spitting gum. It was horrendous. But anyways, eventually the Proud and Powerful hit the Street Sweeper, which definitely needs a new name, something to fit with their Proud and Powerful gimmick, I guess. So that was all right. The match, it was good for a Young Bucks match. It was good. The Young Bucks did some more spots that they usually do. They did spots that they don't always do, and like one of them had his leg injured, and that was like kind of one of the stories of the match. So I dug that. After the match, Rock and Roll Express come out and make the save. Now I'm just thinking to myself, Ricky Morton, which I believe is the guy with the white hair. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I knew who Ricky Morton was. I don't give a fuck, man. I started watching in like '98. So Ricky Morton comes in and does like a Canadian destroyer from the apron to the ring to one of the Proud and Powerful guys, and it was pretty cool. Like he had some trouble doing it because he's like 60 years old, but he did it ultimately, and that was pretty tight. Then he did like a suicide dive to both of the Proud and Powerful guys. So that sounds so gay, Proud and Powerful. It sounds like some gay dominatrix type person. But anyways, it is what it is. So that was all right. The whole Ricky Morton and the other guy, I forget his name, from the Rock and Roll Express, their whole little shtick was pretty cool. I dug that. The match itself was all right. I give it a nice 3 stars, motherfuckers. Next, we had Adam Page. Now I'm thinking to myself, automatically, Adam Page, same category as the other WWE jobbers that they have, like Ali, Cedric Alexander. Adam Page is right there. He is right there. He's not better. He's not worse. He's just right there, right? And I don't understand what makes him good. Like, this guy is clearly not a main eventer. Like, I don't see it at all. What makes him good? He's just like Apollo Crews, does like a running shooting star press, right? He has no character. There's nothing about this guy that's interesting at all, So he came out and had a match with, what's his face? Pac, right? And one of the highlights was Hangman Page does a fall-away slam from the turnbuckle, and Excalibur says, "Oh my God, what a blockbuster!" And then he corrects himself, explaining that it was a fall-away slam. I'm just thinking to myself, like, he was clearly so committed into saying it was a blockbuster that he just went along with it. He had nothing, he couldn't do anything, right? So anyways, Pac tries to go for the Black Arrow and misses. And hits him with a dead eye, further proving my theory that every high-flying wrestler's matches always end with them either hitting their high-flying move and winning, or missing it and losing almost immediately, which is what happened in this case, motherfuckers. The match was not bad. I'm not gonna say it was a bad match, but it wasn't a good match either. There was nothing here that was exciting. This match meant nothing. Like, this rivalry is completely fabricated, and no one cares at all, you know? So I don't understand it, but it was what it was. Like, this match could easily be on AEW Dynamite. It could even be on AEW Dark, and no one would notice, and no one would care. Speaking of AEW Dark, Shawn Spears and Joey Janela had their match. This was completely retarded. I did not like it at all, because Shawn Spears is just atrocious. Like, this guy just sucks. He has this elaborate entrance. He calls himself the chairman, which is like he stole that from Edge and Christian back in the day, who were the chairmen of the WWE, or WWF, I guess, back then, when they did the concerto on people. That was cool. This is not. He has this grandiose entrance as if, like, I'm supposed to be impressed by Ty Dillinger, right? The only thing that was cool about this match was the finish, which was pretty tight, because on the outside, Shawn Spears gets what's-his-face, Joey Janela, and like a pile driver, and what's-his-face, Tully Blanchard, like, spikes Joey Janela. They basically do like a spike pile driver, throws him into the ring. He hits the running Death Valley, which is now called a C4, apparently. And that ends the match. Again, this was more meaningless than the last match. This did not feel, thus far, this event has not felt like a pay-per-view at all, motherfuckers. Next, we have the AEW Tag Team Champions, SCU versus Private Party and Lucha Bros. Now, Lucha Bros are used in, like, every single, like, episode of Dynamite and every pay-per-view. They're always there. And normally this would be a good thing, but I'm sick and tired of them, like, being in the spot that they're in. Like, they're supposed to be this, like, really good tag team, but they keep losing to people like SCU. The match was all right. It wasn't anything crazy or anything like that. Like, I expected a bit more, to be honest, from this match. I didn't think it was going to be a great match, but I expected a bit more. It just felt very uneventful. So yeah, Kazarian kicks out of like a 450 splash by Mark Quinn, I believe his name is. And the other one, Cassidy something. Isaiah Cassidy, was it? Isaiah Cassidy gets hit with a SCU later, and he gets pinned. Then the Lucha Bros, since they didn't get pinned, like, hopefully this doesn't mean we see another match between SCU and Lucha Bros. I'm tired of this shit. It almost certainly will mean that, because the Lucha Bros went on to attack SCU after the match, and then another Pentagon came out to save him. Again, the lights went off, and another Pentagon came out to save SCU. And shocker, motherfuckers, it was Christopher Daniels who was the other Pentagon. Now, this was incredibly poorly done. And the reason it was incredibly poorly done is because, number one, why is Daniels coming in dressed as Pentagon? That makes no sense. Like, he has a legitimate reason to attack both Lucha Brothers while trying to save his friends, right? There's no need for him to be all mysterious about it. Like when Jericho dressed as Pentagon to attack Kenny Omega at one of the All-Outs or All-Ins, whatever the fuck it was, right? That made sense because, you know, Jericho wasn't supposed to be there. They're feuding in a different company, right? It had a time and place, you know? This did not. The lights went out, right? Pentagon number 2 comes out, stares at Pentagon number 1, who is like not intimidated. That's like his whole shtick, right? No fear, zero fear, motherfuckers. Cero miedo. And then Christopher Daniels starts beating him while dressed as Pentagon, then takes off his mask, right? Like expecting some sort of like big reveal type thing. And there was no big reveal type thing at all about it. It made no sense whatsoever to me, you know? Like, it's obviously was going to be Christopher Daniels, right? Like, number one, Daniels, I love Daniels, but he's not like this big star that deserves the lights to go out for him. And two, this wasn't this like strange moment. He saved his friends and beat up the people that attacked him at the same time. Who else could it be, you know? He was obviously the most appropriate choice. Then, one of the worst things ever, when he took off the mask, like his eye was painted with like an Ankh, like an Egyptian Ankh, because he's the fallen angel Christopher Daniels. Why? Why is his face painted under the mask? It makes no sense. right? Unless, like, if he doesn't come out with that face paint tomorrow, I mean, Wednesday, or whatever the fuck that is, right? Then that was stupid, right? At first, I was like, oh, maybe like this will be like some sort of double turn where like Daniels comes and saves them, and then he turns heel and attacks like SCU for some reason, right? Because like he's like lost his mind or something. Because when people start putting face paint on, I'm just like, all right, why'd you do this? You know, like it must be some sort of character change. Anyways, I did not enjoy this match. I did not enjoy the post match at all. But nothing compared to this match. The Riho versus Emi Sakura snooze fest. This was atrocious. Emi, like, I don't have to say anything about this match. Riho wins with a roll-up. The end. They did this, like, series of, like, I'm going to pin you type moves. And then Riho does, like, some total whirl pin. And I don't even know how to explain it. They did so many of them. But eventually she just pins her. So no one cared. It was completely, like, a throwaway match. Thus far, this pay-per-view has been, in my opinion, I don't want to say complete garbage, but nearly complete garbage. And there's not much left to save it, motherfuckers. This did not feel like, at this point, it did not feel like a pay-per-view. Jericho versus Cody. This was pretty cool. I did enjoy this. They had Arn Anderson, Dean Malenko, and Great Muta as the judges for the match. Now, the question this brings up, of course, is why did the tag match have judges come out, or the women's match have judges come out, right? Like, the idea is that the judges are there in case it goes into stoppage, right? So I don't know how I feel about that. That's just, to me, inconsistency. It is what it is. The match was what you would expect. MJF came out with Cody, and Hager came out with Jericho, and Hager interfered a bunch of times, and he was kicked out of there by what's her face, Audrey Edwards or whatever. Aubrey Edwards, I don't know. I don't care. Right? There was a pretty cool spot that I liked. That was when Jericho tried to go for the Judas effect and Cody just blocked it and then put him in the crossroads immediately, which I liked because it was like an interesting way to do it, you know? Like, he countered his finisher in like a pretty, like, he didn't dodge it or anything, he just stopped it and then did the crossroads. Jericho kicked out, of course. There wasn't anything like, I mean, I don't think anybody expected, at least I didn't expect Jericho to go down after like an uneventful crossroads counter, right? So it was what it was. Eventually, Jericho pulls an Eddie Guerrero, hits Cody with the belt, and then throws the belt out, pretends that he's hurt, goes for the pin, but Cody kicks out, motherfuckers. Jericho then takes off his belt, right? Like, he was wearing one of those like weight belts that you wear at the gym, you know, to like stabilize your back. And his belt said Le Champion, which was cool. And he whipped Cody multiple times with it. And what, like, all the whips seemed legit, but one of them, like, I think it was like the second one, it sounded like it killed Cody, man. And to Cody's credit, you know, I talk a lot of shit about him, but I will say this: to Cody's credit, he took a beating, man. He like definitely needed some sort of stitches on his eye. He had welts all over his body at the end of the match from the belt. He took a beating. You know, Cody's not a pussy. Like, I give him props. Like I say, man, I give props where props are due, motherfucks. So Jericho put him in the Walls of Jericho, which I think they just call the Lion Tamer now. Even though the Lion Tamer is a different move than the Walls of Jericho, for anyone that knows, right? Jericho did the normal Walls of Jericho. They called it the Lion Tamer. What's his face? Cody not kicked out. He escaped, basically, and Jericho put it on again. Not near the end of the match, in the end of the match. And then he had like almost like a lion tamer this time, like a real lion tamer, where he like put the knee kind of on his back, and then like he just kneeled down on one knee. So it looked very painful. And before that, Jericho stomped on Cody's head, which I think is great. Like, I can't believe he hasn't been doing this his entire career. Just walls of Jericho and stomp on the guy's head a couple of times. So he did it, right? MJF came out and threw the towel, and with that, he threw away anything good that was happening in this match. He threw away the towel, not away. He threw the towel in, right? Which of course means a forfeiture for Cody, right? The fans started booing, of course. But the way it was presented was that Jericho should have won. Like, he had him in the Walls of Jericho, and it was almost like what's his face? MJF threw in the towel because Cody wouldn't tap, but that this would have been better for Cody. That's at least how JR and Excalibur were presenting it, you know? JR was saying, I think it was the right decision, right? And I'm just like, Doug, something's obviously going to happen here. It's a pay-per-view. This is not going to go, like just gingerly into the next match. But what I thought was going to happen, honestly, was that Cody just beats the shit out of MJF, because what I was predicting this whole time was that they can't be this bad at booking to have MJF, quote unquote, turn heel, motherfuckers, right? Because he's had so many opportunities to turn heel, and they've teased it so many times that now it's like the boy who cried wolf. Like, now it's like, I don't care if he turns heel. Furthermore, MJF already is a heel, right? What should have happened is Cody Rhodes turns heel and MJF turns face. Because aside from the fact that MJF accompanies Cody Rhodes once in a while, everything else he does is heelish, right? He berates the crowd. He berates his opponents, like in the Brandon Cutler match that he had like a few weeks ago, I think on probably AEW Dark. Right? He berates his opponent, berates the crowd, is just an arrogant douche, right? And at some point, I think this was like a week or two ago, he teased doing like a dive to the outside, and he just pretty much trolled the crowd and like told them to go fuck themselves with some hand gestures. So MJF, as far as I'm concerned, is a heel. So this is not a heel turn, Like a lot of people are like, oh, MJF turned heel. He didn't turn heel. He was always a heel. Furthermore, it hasn't really been established that Cody is like a full-time face either, because Cody sometimes wrestles as a heel, sometimes as a face. I understand in this one he's a face, but who gives a shit, right? But what happens is Cody forgives MJF and gives him a hug. MJF kicks him right in the balls, and then JR has the greatest moment of his like last 5-6 years of calling things, and he's like, damn the little bastard, why did he do it, right? It felt like a real JR moment. It made me smile, made me laugh a little bit, so I dug that. Now, where this is going is very clear, right? Obviously, Cody's going to go into a program with MJF. Hopefully, MJF comes out on top, just for obvious reasons. He hasn't done anything, so he needs a rub. And now Cody, thank God, for at least a few months, hopefully, is exempt from challenging for the AEW title. Now, of course, they're going to find a way around this, right? Because Cody is Triple H, and they're going to just find a way to make it not count. But hopefully this keeps him away for a while, Now, here's the problem I had with this match. The match itself was actually pretty damn awesome. I enjoyed this match. The problem I have in this match is the kayfabe behind it, motherfuckers, right? Like, Jericho knows that this is the last time he is going to essentially have to face Cody for the title, right? If Jericho is champion, right? Jericho will not have to defend the title against Cody again, right? Because Cody doesn't get any more title shots. Now, knowing this, right? This match not being a no DQ match, why wouldn't Jericho just kick Cody in the balls one time, right? Take the L, retain the championship, and never have to worry about Cody again. That makes no sense. Why would he do this? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Now, I understand if they did that, obviously, nobody would be happy. The fans would start booing. But what I'm saying is from a kayfabe perspective, Jericho, who is this wily veteran who cheats anyways, why would Jericho care about being disqualified? You understand what I'm saying? He has no reason to fear disqualification because it only benefits him. It benefits him even more. Because, if he gets DQ'd, he doesn't get hurt in this match, right? And he never has to deal with Cody again. Cody can't say like, oh, I want my rematch. No rematches, motherfucker. It doesn't work like that way. And there was a part where either Cody was going to get DQ'd or counted out or something. And JR said, well, if Cody loses here, I would imagine that would just have him jump all the way to the front of the line or something, right? It may have been Excalibur, but they both agreed with they agreed with the sentiment. I'm just like, what? No, if he loses here, right? I don't even think it's if he loses. If Cody doesn't win the title, Cody doesn't get a title shot ever again. So apparently JR and Excalibur didn't really understand what was going on here until the end when JR picked up on it and he was like, oh my God, this means Cody can, wrestle for the title again, which I'm sure it was like down the line on his notes, So that's the thing that I did not like about this match. It was just, and also Cody Rhodes' mom, enough, man. Enough is enough. And it's time for a change, motherfuckers. I just threw in some Owen Hart in there. This entire company, Cody's entire thing is his family. All right, fine. Goldust is his brother and he's a wrestler, so I get it. Okay, fine. Once in a while, they've done it to death, but once in a while, mentioning Dusty Rhodes is kind of neat. But now his mother too, and we also have his wife. There's like 7,000 people in this company have to do with the Rhodes family. There's only one Wrestling only has one first family. Yeah, motherfucker. It's called McMahon. It's not you, you jobber. Get the fuck out of here. So, anyways, I did not enjoy that. What's it called? That hole in storytelling. But after Jericho wins, he's celebrating with a little bit of the bubbly with the inner circle, and Cody and MJF have their little moment. Didn't like it. The heel turn feels forced. It's just like they're like, oh, we don't know what to do with this guy, so we'll just turn him heel. Fuck it. It is what it is. Next. Well, I guess, motherfuckers, actually, that was the last match of the night. Because that match, I think, officially concluded the card. But guess what, motherfuckers? We have an unsanctioned match. A lights-out match, if you will. And AEW's been around for like a month and a half, right? Not even. Probably like a month, right? And they've already had 3 of these motherfuckers. They've already had 3 unsanctioned matches. Like, at a certain point, like, if you keep having unsanctioned matches, what does that say about your company? Kayfabe-wise, of course. What does that say? That just says that, like, you can't control your employees, and your employees really want to hurt each other, right? And you won't sanction it. You know, you won't allow it to be sanctioned under whatever rules your company uses, but you'll still profit from it, right? Once in a while, it's like, all right, no, we made an exception. This is bad. You know, it's going to be a bad like beating, so we're not going to sanction it, but here's how it's going to go down, right? That's like a nice storytelling gimmick. But if you do these things 3 times in 1 month, that's just, it gets played out, motherfuckers. So that's something that I didn't like. The match actually surprised me. I actually enjoyed it because it was slower than a typical Kenny Omega match. He still did the taunts and everything as usual, but it was slower, more calculated, and it involved a lot of, like, obviously hardcore wrestling. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of hardcore wrestling. It has a time and a place, and this would have been the time and place, except for the fact that I'm still not sure why they're even, like, feuding, right? At a certain point, during the little, you know, like during the show when they have those moments where, like, JR just talks, like, you know, about the upcoming matches. At one point, JR said, about the Jericho Cody Rhodes match. He's like, it's personal. It's damn personal. Oh, it's true. It's damn true, right? And I'm just like, yo, is it? Is it really that personal? It's not really that personal, fam. It's just like Cody Rhodes became the number 1 contender. I don't know how. I guess he like beat Darby Allin or something. I don't know. He must have done something to become the number 1 contender. And he just made it personal, right? By, I guess, trying to beat up Jericho that one time when they came in as fans, because all Jericho was doing was saying, like, yo, I don't think you're that good, Cody. You know, and your dad sucks too. And it's not personal. Like, everyone says that about Cody. Everyone tells Cody you're not good enough. That's his whole gimmick. I'm not good enough, and I'm here because of my dad, basically. And people are like, yo, you suck. Your dad was cool, but you suck. And some people even say your dad sucks. So there wasn't anything special about the build-up here. And likewise, the John Moxley, Kenny Omega thing, JR's like, these men legitimately don't like each other. Okay, motherfucker, we get it. Like, wrestling is presented as real. So obviously, everyone that's wrestling in a pay-per-view don't like each other for the most part. Like, you'll have the occasional 2 faces wrestling each other, but typically that's like a given in wrestling. The 2 guys fighting don't like each other, right? And adding the adjective legitimately, you know, doesn't add any gravitas. It makes no sense whatsoever. John Moxley and Kenny Omega have been feuding over I don't know what for like nearly a month, but more than a month, since like before AEW even existed, right? When John Moxley came at the first show and hit Kenny Omega with a paradigm shift. So there you go, you know. The match was all right. There were some pretty cool spots with the barbed wire stuff finally. They were cool. I hate to sound like a savage, but they were cool because people were bleeding, you know. And the one thing when you see a hardcore wrestling match is you wonder, like, all right, which one of these things is gimmicked and how gimmicked is it? Now, obviously the barbed wire is super gimmicked, because if it were real barbed wire and not the kind that just pricks you a little bit, it would like be tearing flesh apart. Barbed wire is not to be fucked with, motherfuckers. So, you know, they did that. They took out like the Young Bucks, and Adam Page brought out like a board with like barbed wire on it. That was pretty cool. They both used the barbed wire bat and broom. It was pretty cool, you know. Kenny Omega did this pile driver, like a stump puller pile driver on a trash can. And what's his face? JR and Excalibur were like, oh, head versus trash can. Trash can always wins. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? Like when a person hits the trash can is completely different. It's bent out of shape entirely. Any objective referee would see that the person wins that one. Like, think about it. If you have a nice little shitty, wrestling trash can and you hit me on the head with it, it's going to hurt very, very little, right? But then your trash can's fucked, motherfucker. So I think the human wins on that one. So that's just another example of poor commentary. Now, I'm not saying, of course, that JR and Excalibur say what I just said and explain to you why the trash can doesn't win, right? But just try to avoid saying dumb shit like that, So the match went on. What's his face? John Moxley started bleeding like a fucking pig, man. When I don't know how they did this. Kenny Omega hit him in the head while he was going for a suicide dive with the barbed wire broom, and he actually started bleeding pretty heavily. I don't know how. It couldn't have been that renegade of a shot. So that was really cool. I enjoyed that. Then it became a typical fucking Kenny Omega match. V triggers and all that bullshit. So there you go. John Moxley hits the paradigm shift on glass, but he can't get the pin, of course, because that's how things are. Kenny Omega eventually fucks it all up by missing a splash, and he gets hit. He lands on exposed wood, basically, and that's how that goes. And Moxley hits him with a paradigm shift to get the pinfall. Now this match was kind of a spot fest, and I don't typically like those. But if it's like an entertaining spot fest, right, in a spot, like if they had this match again, it wouldn't be the same thing, right? They would have to do different things. They might do some of the same spots, but when people do ladder, back in the day when WWE was doing ladder matches, very, very rarely, right? You'd see 2 or 3 ladder matches a year, maybe, right? The ladder matches were always amazing because people did new things. They would innovate new things to do because they understood that because these matches are so rare, they can't be like the other one that we saw 4 months prior, right? So this is kind of the same thing with hardcore wrestling now. Since these true hardcore matches happen very infrequently, right? A lot of times there's innovation and cool spots, right? And there's nothing better than a cool spot. Now, I'll say that Young Bucks and Kenny Omega suck ass because they only do spots, but that's because their spots are super kicks and fucking like suicide dives, things that everyone does. If their spots were I don't know, throwing someone off of a roof, onto glass tables, that would be pretty cool. I'd like to see that all the time, or at least once in a while. So, and then I expected something to happen, something the thing about AEW is that you expect big things to happen in the pay-per-views because they're just not big. They're not a big company, so you expect cool things to happen. Even something as simple as Jack Swagger comes out, right? So nothing happened here. The only thing of note is MJF low blows Cody. I refuse to call that a fucking heel turn. But anyways, motherfuckers, that's what I have to say about that. Sorry, I'm a little tired still today. It's been a busy few days, motherfuckers. But tomorrow what's tomorrow? Veterans Day? Is that it? Yeah, Veterans Day, and I'm going to be doing absolutely nothing. I might go for a little bit of a walk, you know what I'm saying? Just to kind of get my steps in, if you will, get a coffee or something. And beyond that, I'm going to stay in my apartment, and I'm going to be chilling, playing some games maybe, and then I'll be watching Raw and doing a Raw review. So thanks to all of you for watching. I know sometimes I say what's up, motherfuckers, and things like that because that's just really how I am. But I do appreciate the people that have stuck by me in this wild 4-week or so journey, right, motherfuckers? But the good news is we went from 19 subscribers to how many do I have now? I just checked before I started this video, but let's just see so I can get the exact number here. Motherfuckers! I believe that now I have 22 or 23 maybe. I don't know. Sometimes it updates a little later. So I don't know. When I last checked, it was 22, but now it says 23. I don't know. Maybe it's an old, I don't know. It's weird. But anyways, appreciate it to the, whatever. I was 19, 22, 23. So to the 3 or 4 of you that have joined, welcome, motherfuckers. I'll keep growing. I don't know what the correct growth rate is for a YouTube channel of this sort, right? But I'm gonna get better and better. I'm gonna get better at making videos, at editing videos, and if wrestling keeps going this way, there's gonna be a lot to talk about, motherfuckers. I just looked at the card for New Japan, and it's actually pretty fucking sick because they're doing a 2-night event. So look forward to that around January, fuckers. But for now, we're gonna be focusing on Raw, SmackDown. What's the other one? NXT. That's how rough NXT is. I just forget their name, right? Which is weird. How can I forget their name when their name is NXT and their logo is "We Are NXT"? Fucking stupid as shit. Imagine if The Rock's slogan was, and I am The Rock. Like, imagine that was his thing. Like, shut up, Michael Cole, and I am The Rock. That would be the dumbest thing ever. So anyways, that, and of course, our favorite show of all time, motherfuckers, AEW. Though, I would give this entire event maybe like a 5 out of 10, honestly, if I'm being objective. But it does automatically get boosted, in my opinion, to a 6.5 out of 10, only because Jericho won. They did the right thing. Where it matters, they're doing the right thing. I was starting to get afraid once again that people like Cody and the Young Bucks were being overexposed, but all the elite people lost, except for Adam Page, who was the only one that really should have won anyways, because let's face it, like Pac, come on, people like him, I dig it, but let's be real, this guy is not a star. So, the right people went over. I look forward to seeing what the inner circle is actually going to do. I look forward to maybe having them do some promos and actually behave more like a stable than they do now, because now they don't really behave like a stable. It's kind of like Jericho and Swagger are a thing, LAX is a thing, and Sammy Guevara is like his own thing, kind of, But like, well, that's like 5 dudes. They should act like a stable, like do a match like Sammy Guevara and Jack Swagger, right, versus 2 jobbers, and Jack Swagger can play the role of like the serious tough guy type. Sammy Guevara can be like the goofy, arrogant guy, right? That always works. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I want to see. I want to see things like that, or even have like do something completely out of the box. Do like Ortiz and Jack Swagger. Fuck it, just like something interesting, something that we haven't seen, in a while, or in this case ever. So that's what I'm saying. I want them to act like a faction, because factions create storylines, and storylines drive wrestling, motherfuckers. And the Elite does not act like a faction, but that's always been the case. So it is what it is. So hopefully something awesome happens. I am looking forward, not to Monday Night Raw. I couldn't care less. I'm looking forward to Survivor Series, of course, but I'm also, more importantly, looking forward to AEW, because I want to see the fallout of this pay-per-view. I want to see what's next, right? Because in my opinion, this is one of the most critical days in the history of AEW. This Wednesday. I'm not even joking. It is the time when we will see them follow up a pay-per-view with a TV show immediately. You understand what I'm saying? And that's something that you either can do well or you can't. And that is the recipe for the rest of your company. If you book a good after pay-per-view match, after pay-per-view TV show, then the sky is the limit, right? Because now anyone that watched or read or heard about AEW Full Gear, Full Game, motherfuckers, is probably thinking, all right, what's next? Who is there to challenge Jericho? It's got to be Hangman Page, right? He's the only face left that's not a jobber. Let's be honest, he's a jobber. But it can't be Cody, right? I can't think of another face. I really can't. I guess if they really want to, that would be ridiculous to put like Darby Allin or like Jimmy Havoc or like one of these guys in. You need someone to sell a pay-per-view, motherfuckers. So I don't even think Adam Page can do it. It might just be Kenny Omega. It's gonna depend. It's gonna depend on when their next pay-per-view is. How frequently are they gonna do pay-per-views? Hopefully not every month, and almost certainly not, because this pay-per-view is probably gonna get like 50 buys. So yeah, who gives a shit? But anyways, motherfuckers, look forward to the AEW review, and tomorrow look forward to Monday Night Raw. I'm gonna get some rest, and then that means that tomorrow probably I'll record my review as soon as Raw ends, and I'll upload it, in however long it takes to upload. Anyways, motherfuckers, thanks for the support. You know what I'm saying? And welcome to the new guys, and also the old guys know about this, but the new guys, if you have if you have some free time on your hands, I suggest you take out each other's cocks and shove it in the ass of the guy next to you, because that would be literally fucking yourselves. See you later, motherfuckers. Go fuck yourselves.